Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarotam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram shankha chakrasi dharinam sahasra shirsam shvetam pranamami patanjalim Harihi Om. Release your arms, open the eyes. Probably the single most important thing, probably is not a good word, the single most important thing to remember in pranayama is that every breath I take is a God-given blessing. If that is forgotten, then it becomes a very mechanical practice. So, as often as possible, remind yourself that that's a divine gift. Also, pranayama has become more like a swashayama. People think of it only as control of breath. It's much more than that. With the few half hour we have available, I propose to go through how the fingers are used for Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, because that is what was initially requested. Then, if time permits, I want to give some idea of what ultimately can happen. Before starting that, I would like to look at a few very basic precautions in all pranayama. If I ask people to take a breath, a deep breath, generally, most people lift their shoulders. On inhalation, the shoulder goes up. On exhalation, it drops down. If you do that, then the upper part of the lungs don't work properly. So sit it comfortably. Take a comfortable breath. Minimize the use of the shoulders going up and down. Inhale. Exhale. Generally, as the body ages, people bend forward, they stoop forward. If you never want to get old, the basic thing you want to teach yourselves is on inhalation, lift the upper body. On exhalation, drop. Imagine a river running down from your occipital area down your back. Inhale up, exhale down. Just imagine that energy moving that way. So that breath after breath after breath, if you pay attention to that, the chance of your stooping forward like that with aging will be minimized. A few precautions. One was the shoulder lifting up and down. Second is, if you are out of breath, if you are not used to running and you go and run suddenly and you are out of breath, or if you have a condition like asthma, okay, when the asthmatic attack hits you or you are out of breath and you try to breathe, here is what happens. The brain feels it is expanding on inhalation, like this is what people do, right? That should be observed as a wrong movement. And hence, you try to breathe in such a way that you do the opposite. Think of the brain in relation to the chest as this hourglass. Okay? When the top empties, the bottom fills up. When the bottom empties, the top fills up. So when you inhale, the chest expands. When you exhale, the chest contracts. Brain has the opposite movement. On inhalation, when the chest expands, the brain should release in as though it's moving to its own center. When I exhale and the chest contracts, the brain releases out. The main difference between the two is, in the chest, we talk of expansion and contraction. In the brain, it's not expansion and contraction. Rather, on inhalation, as the chest expands, brain releases to its own center. On exhalation, as the chest contracts, the brain releases into the circumference of the skull. So in the brain, we don't say expansion and contraction. Each way, each movement is a releasing, relaxing movement. That's one major contraindication. That would be helped by paying attention to a few other things. There should be no tension in the eyes. In Vedanta, we learn that looking takes place. Keep that sense, so there is no, even with your eyes closed, don't try to look. Have that sense of looking happening, looking taking place. So no tension in the eyes, no tension in the ears. If there is already some tension in the eyes, as a result of pranayama, it should not increase. If that happens, it shows that something is going wrong and you need to talk to a teacher. Same way with the ears. There should be no ringing or pain in the ears. If there already is such a pain, at least it should not increase by the way you do pranayama. Then tongue. Tongue should be very soft, resting in the floor of the mouth. In some particular pranayama, we lift the tongue up. But the root of the tongue should be very, very, very soft and receptive. So no tension in eyes, ears, tongue. With it, no tension in the jaws, really no tension in any of the facial muscles. If you combine all that with the brain releasing in on inhalation, out on exhalation, chances are you will not make a mistake in pranayama that is then dangerous. Something we also want to know about what is tension. See, if I work on asana practice, and I really stretch my legs, over a period my hamstring stretches, I'm able to bend forward or lift the legs up more easily. Then I go away on vacation and don't do anything for a month. I come back, if I try to stretch my leg, there's going to be pain. That pain will tell me that I'm perhaps overdoing it. Okay? In the lungs, that does not happen. The alveoli, the air sacs in the lung, have got tremendous elasticity. But if you stop the practice, that elasticity is lost very quickly. Then when you come to start the practice again, there are no pain centers in the lungs. So there is no feedback that you are overdoing it. You have to begin slowly and gradually build up the practice if you take a break. Better not to take a break. But if you have to take a break, build it up slowly again. Because the mind will have a memory that I'm able to breathe like this. You cannot go with that. That might cause problems. Okay, so those are basic contraindications. Often in teaching we say no tension in the arms and the legs. In the beginning that is going to happen. Okay? Over a period you learn not to tense your arms and legs when doing pranayama practice. Okay, so much for the background. Now the use of the fingers. The very tip of the finger, the very top of the tip, is used to close or open close the nostril, basically. Same way with the tip of the thumb, very top of the tip of the thumb is used to close the nostril, not the side. Side is used for exhalation, or more of the side is used for inhalation. So if I use my thumb on my right nostril, if you put your fingers on the nose and trace it, at the very bottom of this bony surface, there is like a V, inverted V-shaped notch. Trace it with your hand or your finger. Okay? You see that notch? Okay. The tip of the thumb should sit into that notch. There is very, very little pressure applied sideways to close the nostril. almost all the pressure is up. Also, when you get tired, you tend to drag the nose down. Don't do that, the nose might fall down. So the tip of the thumb is used, the very top of the tip, to push very slightly to the left and then lift it up. That completely closes that nostril. Okay? Release. Same thing on the other side. I take my pinky finger and the ring finger and combine those two fingers. Okay? There is a space between these middle knuckles. Don't join them together if you can. And those tips are used. The middle finger is used. The tip of the middle finger is taken right into that notch, the V-shaped knot on the left side, to close the nostril. Again, to close it, very little sideways pressure is applied. Mostly it's an upward movement. To inhale, instead of using the top of the tip, I completely move the thumb sideways. It's not taken off the skin. Skin touch should remain with the nostril. Okay? So the thumb is released this way for inhalation. If the nasal passage is blocked, sometimes with the thumb, I even have to pull out a little, so the passage opens. Okay? Over a period, that should not be necessary. But that contact remains. So for closing the nostril, the very top of the tip is used, like we saw earlier. For completely opening, you move the thumb completely sideways. For exhalation, something in between is used. Neither the very top of the tip, nor the complete side. Because on exhalation, you want the nostril to be slightly closed, not completely closed. With the result that automatically your exhalation is a little longer than inhalation. If you read in the books, it will mention ratios of 1:2, sometimes 1:4 even. I would not go with those ratios. Those are dangerous ratios. That's supposed to happen as a result of long practice. It's not something you impose. If you impose it on yourself, you're going to tense eyes, ears, tongue, facial muscles. That would be a mistake. Okay, so far, any question? All right. Same with the fingers. To close the nostril, I go with the very top of the tip and up. To open the nostril, to breathe in, I completely come to the side. And to exhale, I go slightly up in between the two extreme positions. Okay? That's the way the nostrils are closed or opened. So another thing is with sometimes Mr. Angar, my wonderful teacher, started teaching people pranayama in lying down position for those who are not able to sit properly, or for other therapeutic conditions also. The sits that you are seated on are kind of falling back, okay, the cup, which forces tucking of your pelvis. Okay? You really want to sit a little further forward, not resting on the back at all. And the pelvis is untucked. Untucked pelvis means your sit bones move circularly away from each other. The hip bones move towards each other. And as a result, in the back of the body, you have around your sacrum, there's a sense of wide space. Okay? That space is to be encouraged. Even otherwise, you want to keep that space wider, even without pranayama. When you inhale, as I said, the chest moves, the bottom of the chest widens, the top of the chest has more forward movement, forward and up movement. Shoulders are not moved. So a complete cycle of beginner's pranayama would be, you begin like this, exhale completely, close both the nostrils at the end of exhalation. Then you open the right nostril, completely taking the thumb sideways. On inhalation, inhale through the right, close the right nostril, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left, exhale through the right. Okay. In the beginning, you don't want to do what is called kumbhaka, which is retention. Inhalation retention is antar kumbhaka, exhalation is bahya kumbhaka. Okay, kumbhakas have to be learned later. I'll describe to you how. On inhalation, I want to have a constant sense that my brain feels releasing in as the chest expands. It takes time to learn that. At any moment where I feel my tongue is tensing, eyes are tensing, ears are tensing, or my brain is tensing, then I'm not ready for kumbhaka. Okay? Over a period, I learned how to see that the brain continuously releases in throughout my inhalation. When that is learned, then you start introducing inhalation retention, antarkumbhaka. After that is learned, on exhalation, you want to learn that throughout your exhalation, the brain releases out. When that is established, then only you begin bahya kumbhaka. Do not learn external retention before internal retention. Okay? Because external retention can cause depression and other problems. Learn the internal retention, inhalation retention first. Okay, any questions on that? That's very fast introduction to Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. Yes, sir.
What do you mean by the brain releases in and out?
That's something that you have to learn. If the brain doesn't readily recognize it, I gave you the example of if you run and you're out of breath, see what is the sensation in the brain. Okay? You are out of breath, and that's what when you do that, you feel that the brain is kind of pushing out. If you want to learn that properly, the advice given would be lie down on the floor, have the head supported, put a good heavy weight on your forehead. That will teach you. Sometimes we tie a bandage around, which will also help to feel that sensation. And while you can learn a basic sensation reasonably quickly, to become good at recognizing that will take long time. It won't come immediately. Anything else? Any other question?
If one of the nostrils is closed, one is only open. Then how to open it? Then both should be open.
So generally, if my left nostril, let's say, is closed,
Yes.
at least at home when I lie down, when I go to sleep, I want to sleep on my right side. The body will naturally turn in sleep. But as often as you wake up or so on, learn to lie down on the side on which it is open. So the opposite side opens.
You may lie on the side which is open.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because the nasal passage will drain to the open side. Okay. There are other techniques also given. You put a support in your armpit and hold it on the side on which it is closed.
Yes.
That will help open the left nostril also. Okay. But general practice of pranayama would help. Now, if the nostril is closed because your septum is deviated, then you need an operation. Without that, to correct with your fingers would be very difficult. It can be done over a period of years.
But I find it go for a walk, but half a mile of walk, it opens up because of exercise.
Yeah.
It needs more oxygen. Automatically open this closed nostril.
Okay, if that's the case, all you need is a 2-story home. Okay? Walk up and down the steps several times. It'll open. Okay? And when you do it often enough, then it won't close like that. Yes.
When you close, initially when you practice, right? So you close with the tip and
Tip.
then go on a sideways and all. Now, it takes time to remembering those as a practice.
Correct.
So while I'm doing, am I tensing? How will I know that?
No, because you're thinking some tension will come. Okay, but that's kind of tolerated. You learn over a period not to tense like that.
That doesn't harm me.
No, it won't harm you. What I generally advise in a class is that don't even practice pranayama. Just think of I'm inhaling, I'm exhaling, I'm holding. Just play with your hand a little bit. It's like learning to walk.
Yeah.
Okay, initially you fall down for sure, but then it becomes automatic. Today, when I practice pranayama, I don't have to think like that. I have to move my thumb. It becomes kind of automatic. Yes, sir.
Can you please restate the relation between the inhalation and exhalation and the expansion and contraction of the brain?
Yeah. An easy way to remember is think of the hourglass, as I said. You know what the hourglass is? When the top empties, the bottom fills up. Okay? So top empties means on inhalation, the bottom fills up means I'm inhaling. So the brain becomes smaller and smaller, as it were. And then when I'm exhaling, the chest closes and the brain releases outwards. Actually, you will find that very soothing once you get used to it, very soothing. Yes, sir. Yeah.
What is the purpose of visualizing or thinking your brain is increasing and decreasing?
Purpose, my good sir, is always enlightenment. Okay.
You get enlightened by that?
No, it prepares your base. You won't get enlightened by doing pranayama. But it helps you to use your brain more effectively. Okay, it releases certain tension so you can pay attention to the philosophy. Asana and pranayama practice will not get you to enlightenment. But this is the vehicle I have. It makes my vehicle better, more efficient. Yes, ma'am.
So if I'm doing it correctly, does it feel like a traditional tap, slightly moving this way, that way, like we are just doing this, or am I doing it wrong?
No,
So,
but
like a traditional tap, slightly we twist to the right, slightly to the left. Is that how it's supposed to be? Open and close?
in the beginning, that may be a helpful imagination. Ultimately, if you do pranayama correctly, at the end of your practice, you have a soothing sensation in your whole nervous system. That's the real proof. Okay? If you find agitated at the end of pranayama, there is something wrong. Asana practice can agitate you, depending on the kind of practice. If you do a lot of back bends, it's going to agitate you. But pranayama should never agitate you. Yes, ma'am.
For the beginners, is there like a time constraint? How long should you do the pranayama, or?
Less than 3 minutes is useless. Do not exceed 20 minutes in the beginning. My personal practice is half hour. Mr. Iyengar's personal practice is 1 hour. Okay. But I saw Mr. Iyengar in London give a demonstration. He comes on the podium and says, I will now begin inhalation. Then he inhales for 2 minutes. Then he holds the breath and he's talking. So to talk, you require some exhalation, right? But minimum. And then after 2 minutes of that, he says, now I will exhale. He exhales for 2 minutes. Okay. But after years of practice. Yes, sir.
Do you mean, by Iyengar, do you mean BKS Iyengar?
BKS Iyengar is my teacher. He passed away, he died last year.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So when you breathe, it feels like all the breath is in your lungs. Is that how it's supposed to feel?
You should feel the breath in the nostrils.
So when you're breathing inside, it just feels like it's just my chest is filled up with breath.
That's a very good. I would congratulate you. Most people don't feel it that readily. Yeah. The movement should be felt on your skin outwards.
So it's all chest breathing, not abdominal at all.
Pranayama is not abdominal
It's
breathing.
only chest.
Abdominal breathing is done for relaxation.
But it feels very shallow. It's not very comfortable as you would suggest. So
You are quite right. It is shallow in the beginning. Yeah. And therefore, what this lady suggested here is what happens. People combine breathing in the chest and abdominal breathing. Okay. Slowly you minimize the abdominal breathing. Okay. To learn properly, one way to recognize that is to lie down and do it. Lie down on a blanket, folded blanket, have the head supported, put maybe a book or maybe maximum 10-pound sandbag on the belly, and breathe in such a way that you feel the sand sand, if you are using a sandbag, is moving outwards. See, normal abdominal breathing is what? When you inhale, the belly moves up. When you exhale, the belly moves down. You want to change that sensation to belly moving out and moving in. With that sense, you will get more air coming into the lungs. Also, if there's a problem with hernia, your stomach moves up into the lung area. So that will also constrict. That's another reason why people will move the shoulder up and down, because the lower lungs are blocked by that hernia. Yeah? Yes, sir.
Where do you teach your class?
In San Francisco on Thursday from 1:30 to 3:30. Okay, I used to teach more classes, but I'm too old for that now.
I notice when I do pranayama, I get so conscious about my breathing and start to get little short of breath, even though I'm not doing any activity except breathing.
So then you are contradicting something, like
Right.
the brain must be expanding or tension in the eyes. Don't do, slow down much more. One suggestion would be enjoy doing pranayama. Don't force it. If you force it, then that will happen. Okay, and that's not considered healthy. Okay, we've got about 4 or 5 minutes. Yes.
So you're suggesting that in the beginning, if you pay attention to the belly breathing versus the lung and the chest breathing, so then you pay attention, you can minimize, correct?
Correct.
I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's the right practice to begin.
That would be right practice to begin with, and my suggestion would be do that lying down. Don't try to do it sitting up. Okay, lie down and do it. Because the brain will learn the pattern. Then you can use it in your sitting practice. It's a safe approach. If you learn sitting up, it need not be dangerous, but it can be. It's like the example given is, a child says, I play in the street, middle of the street, nothing happens. But it's not a safe way to play, obviously. Same here. Yes, sir.
What do you mean by danger? Pranayam is not done properly.
Danger means the worst danger that can happen is you'll go crazy. And medical science will not help you. You need a yoga expert to help you if that happens as a result of pranayama.
Mentally crazy?
Yes, absolutely. You begin to function like you are in a lunatic asylum.
Have you seen any cases like that?
2 cases I know of personally, yes. They force something, and that should not be done.
So, the word, 2 words, nadi, shuddhi.
Yes.
What does that refer to in specific as part of the pranayama?
The 5 elements are to be addressed. If I look at my nostril, if I look at my left nostril, earth element is here. Okay? Water element is here. The tejas is here. Vayu is here. And in the center is akasha. Okay? Ultimately, in meditation, the breathing should be from akasha element. But to make that very correct, I need to work on each of the elements separately. That's a very advanced practice. According to Mr. Iyengar, for 30, 40 years, you will have to refine it before it becomes correct. It's a very, very advanced practice, and only comes by a lot of practice, dedicated practice. With that, then mudras are used. So Prithvi mudra, if I do my right hand, I'm doing pranayama. With the left hand, I will take the mudra. Prithvi mudra, with the tip of the ring finger. Varuna mudra, okay, which is addressed to different chakras. Prithvi will be to the Muladhara. This will be to Swadhisthana chakra. Then Agni mudra, okay. Vayu mudra, and the last mudra, the Akasha mudra. Okay. These are used in pranayama. Okay. Combination of all that, along with the work on the chakras, will help to refine, open up the nadis. Generally, the biggest nadi that is paid attention to is Ida and Pingala. Ida starts on the left side, ends up in the left nostril, although it goes through spiral in each chakra. Pingala does the opposite, ends up in the right nostril. So I had cases where this lady came many years ago, an Italian lady, and was going through menopause and wanted help with this. So she had done some yoga. I gave her an inverted position, asked her to close her right nostril, breathe in and out of the left nostril, completely relieved her problem. So she was joking in her Italian accent. What is this, Ramananda? I get a menopause, you ask me to hang upside down, breathe into it goes away. And she repeats that everywhere. Okay, thank you. Namaste. Thank you.